Canada, the land of snow-capped mountains, crystal lakes, and breathtaking beauty. But hidden beneath this picture-perfect country lies a side most people never dare to see. Dark alleys where whispers echo, hotels where guests wake up to someone standing by their bed, streets where shadows follow you, even when you're alone. Yes, tonight, we're stepping into Canada's haunted side. From ghostly soldiers guarding their forts, to the spirits of Titanic passengers still crying out for help, these cities hold stories that will chill you to the bone. So grab your headphones, turn off the lights, because here are the 5 most haunted cities in Canada. Winnipeg, a city that looks ordinary by day, but once the sun goes down, its dark past begins to stir. Locals call it the most haunted city in Canada, and for good reason. Its streets carry more than 100 years of chilling history, and its buildings hold secrets that refuse to stay buried. The most infamous place of all is the Fort Garry Hotel, a luxurious landmark with a terrifying reputation. Room 202 is said to be cursed. Guests who have stayed there claim to wake in the middle of the night, only to see a woman in white standing at the foot of their bed, silently watching them. Some say she appears crying near the window, forever reliving her heartbreak after losing her husband in a tragic accident. Staff members whisper about doors slamming shut on their own, lights flickering, and cold spots that freeze you to the bone. Even seasoned employees admit they would never dare walk the corridors alone at night. But the hotel is not the only place in Winnipeg shrouded in mystery. The old Vaughan Street Jail, once home to criminals and condemned prisoners, still echoes with cries from the past. Visitors swear they feel someone breathing down their necks, even when no one is there. Footsteps follow you through the hallways, and shadows dart across the cells. In Winnipeg, the line between the living and the dead is thin. This city holds on to its spirits, refusing to let them rest. Travelers come for the culture, the festivals, the beauty of Manitoba, but many leave with a story they can never forget. Because in Winnipeg, ghosts are not legends. They're neighbors. Ghost. Halifax, the city that never let the dead go. Halifax, a coastal city known for its lighthouses, ships, and the wild Atlantic winds. But beneath its beauty, Halifax carries one of the darkest legacies in history, the Titanic tragedy. When the great ship sank in 1912, this city became the final resting place for many of its victims. And some say their spirits never left. The most infamous haunt here is the Five Fishermen restaurant. By day, it's a fine dining spot filled with laughter and clinking glasses. But when the lights go down, the atmosphere changes. Before it was a restaurant, the building served as a funeral home, where the bodies of Titanic's passengers were prepared for burial. Staff whisper that glasses sometimes leap from shelves, shattering on their own. Diners report sudden icy chills sweeping across the room, even in the heat of summer. And many claim to hear soft voices, ghostly whispers, floating across empty tables. But that's not all. On Citadel Hill, one of Halifax's oldest landmarks, ghostly soldiers are said to still patrol the fortress. Visitors tell of shadowy figures marching along the ramparts, muskets in hand, their faces pale and hollow. Some even claim to have seen a soldier standing watch, only to realize seconds later, he vanished into thin air. Halifax is a city built on history, tragedy, and the restless energy of thousands of souls. Its streets hold echoes of sailors lost at sea, soldiers who never returned, and Titanic passengers who never reached their destination. Locals say that if you walk through downtown Halifax at night, the past walks beside you. This is not just a city of the living. Halifax belongs to the dead. Victoria, the charming capital of British Columbia, known for its flower gardens, seaside views, and Victorian-era architecture. But behind its elegance lies something far darker. Locals whisper that Victoria isn't just a city of beauty, it's a city of ghosts. The most famous haunt is the Grand Fairmont Empress Hotel. Guests come here expecting luxury, but some leave with chilling stories they'll never forget. Many report the ghost of an elderly woman dressed in her nightgown, knocking on doors in the middle of the night. If you open the door, she quietly leads you down the hallway, only to vanish into thin air. Others say the hotel's empty ballrooms sometimes echo with the sound of music, as if invisible dancers are still waltzing beneath the chandeliers. Then there's Craigdarroch Castle, a magnificent mansion with a tragic past. Built by Coal Baron Robert Dunsmuir, the castle has long been tied to tales of sorrow. Visitors claim to see a woman in white drifting silently across the staircase, her face hidden in shadows. Some hear a piano playing softly in the distance. Even when the room is completely empty, guides admit that staff often refuse to walk certain halls after dark. But Victoria's hauntings don't stop there. Its old neighborhoods, theaters, and even government buildings are filled with ghost stories, passed down through generations. Tourists who join the city's famous ghost walks often say they feel watched, as though dozens of unseen eyes follow them through the night. Victoria may look like a paradise by day, but when the sun sets, its beauty takes on a sinister glow. This is a city where the past has not let go, where sorrow and tragedy have left spirits wandering forever. Montreal, where the shadows never sleep. Montreal, the city of culture, festivals, and glowing nightlife. But when the laughter fades and the streets grow silent, a different Montreal awakens, one that is cloaked in whispers, shadows, and restless souls. This is a city where the past refuses to die. One of the most haunted places here is McGill University, one of Canada's most prestigious schools. Students and staff have long reported footsteps echoing in empty corridors, doors opening by themselves, and eerie voices that call their names when no one is there. In some of the oldest buildings, the temperature drops suddenly, as if something unseen has just entered the room. Legends say the spirits of those who built the school, or perhaps those who died within its walls, still linger, forever watching the living. But the darkness of Montreal doesn't end there. Old Montreal, with its narrow cobblestone streets and centuries-old buildings, is said to be alive with ghostly presences. Tourists wandering after dark often claim to see shadowy figures gliding across the alleys, disappearing into stone walls. Others speak of a sudden icy wind that comes out of nowhere, carrying with it the faint smell of decay, like something pulled from the grave. Even the old St. Gabriel House, one of the city's historic sites, is steeped in paranormal activity. Visitors have reported furniture moving on its own and ghostly apparitions roaming the halls. Guides admit that some rooms are so heavy with energy, people refuse to step inside. Montreal is a city of contrasts, music and silence, light and darkness, the living and the dead. Its beauty hides an unsettling truth that the streets are never empty. Every corner holds a shadow, every breeze carries a whisper, and every night someone feels a cold hand brush against their shoulder, only to turn and find nothing. In Montreal, the dead don't rest. They walk among the living, forever part of the city's heartbeat. Ghost. St. John's, the city in the fog. St. John's, a city perched on the edge of the Atlantic, wrapped in thick fog and battered by roaring waves. By day, it looks colorful and alive, its row houses painted in bright shades along the waterfront. But when night falls and the fog creeps in from the sea, St. John's becomes something else entirely, a city of whispers, shadows, and ghosts that never left. The most chilling tales come from its old lighthouse, a lonely sentinel standing guard against the ocean. Locals swear the spirit of a long-dead keeper still walks its stairs. Fishermen say they've heard desperate cries echoing across the water on stormy nights, as if a drowning man is still calling for help, trapped between life and death. Some claim they've even seen his lantern glowing faintly in the mist, only to vanish the moment they get close. But the hauntings don't end at the lighthouse. Downtown St. John's, with its twisting lanes and historic pubs, carries its own share of phantoms. Bartenders speak of glasses sliding across counters on their own, while patrons have seen figures in old-fashioned coats and hats walk past mirrors, reflections with no one standing there. One of the eeriest spots is the Old George Street, famous for its nightlife by day, but by night, it hides shadows that follow you. Some locals whisper of a ghostly woman in black, wandering alone in the mist, her face pale, her eyes hollow. They say she appears to men who walk home late from the pubs, and if you follow her, she leads you into the fog, and you never come back. St. John's is a city born of storms, shipwrecks, and loss. Every corner tells a story. Every gust of wind feels like a sigh from the past. To tourists, it's colorful and welcoming. but to those who know its secrets, it's one of the most haunted places in all of Canada. Here, the ocean keeps its dead close, and the fog makes sure their presence is never forgotten. Asterisk ghost.